Hello again, Dr. David Lee for the Old Fashioned Health Network. Today we're going to talk a little bit about ankylosing spondylitis. Now, not to be confused with a lot of other arthritic conditions, ankylosing spondylitis affects primarily men starting at age 17 all the way through 60 and above. But the primary diagnosis starts between 17 and 35. What it looks like on the spine, here's my little plastic memory, it looks like the disc material is disappearing, usually in the front. It looks like the two bones are melting together. Arthritic changes. Ankylosing spondylitis means inflammation in between the joints, primarily of the sacroiliac joints or the individual spinal joints. The inflammation causes pain and discomfort, and the actual diagnosis usually doesn't happen until it becomes ankylosing spondylosis, not litis. Litis means inflammation. Losis means inflammation has gone so bad that it's taken away degeneration, and the bones will literally look like they're starting to melt together or fuse together. Changing an antalgic lean, making people lean forward more in their posture, making it more difficult to have flexibility, a lot stiffer in the mornings, and as you get up and move around, it starts to loosen up a little bit as we go, but it gradually and progressively worsen. It can be aggravated by things like colitis, Crohn's disease, these type of conditions as well. Sometimes it's misdiagnosed that way. Sometimes you need x-rays, sometimes you need blood tests. The blood test that gives you not a definitive diagnosis, but a correlation is a gene for HLA-B27, I believe it is. And it doesn't diagnose the condition, but it gives you a pathway to tell you that it may be there. Unfortunately, half the people that show positive for their gene do not show up with ankylosing spondylitis. But there's probably more to it than just the simple blood vessel or hereditary factor. What I teach my patients is that it's about God. Because we're made in God's image, it's three parts of the God that we serve. There is structural, chemical, emotional, or Father, Son, Holy Ghost, is the way I talk about it in church. It's impossible, it says 8 times in Scripture, impossible to separate the three parts of the God that I serve. It's a Trinity. In science class, it's impossible to separate your structure, your chemistry, your emotion. So that explains why some people have a gene for ankylosing spondylitis or the gene for diabetes and never get the symptom, because there's more to it than just the genetic predisposition. That is 1/3 of it. Your structure is your gene network. Your structure is what color hair you have, what color eyes you have, how tall you are. You got that from mom and dad, and you can't really change that. But your chemistry, which is the second part, is what you eat and what you drink and what you breathe. That's changeable on a daily basis. Your emotions is the third equal partner in this deal. Emotions, your subconscious emotions, what do you think about? Now, wise people often say you get what you think about most of the time. And what you think about in your subconscious mind and what's replaying over and over and over in your mind is what your body manifests into. So we want to get some stinking thinking out of our thoughts and get it back to clear, positive thinking, thinks about God and thinks about things of each other, think about love and peace and kindness. That would help tremendously. Sounds like I'm overstating it, but I'm not, because it's actually 1/3 of your health. Now let's go back to ankylosing spondylitis a little bit. Talk a little bit more about the progression. People start noticing it when they get stiffer. They think, oh, I worked out too hard, I'm a little stiff. But I didn't work out yesterday and I'm still stiff. Wait a minute, what's going on here? My bones, I took an x-ray of my spine for my annual physical or something like that, and it looks like they're starting to melt together. That's ankylosing spondylitis. What do you do about it? Well, most medical people say, take a Tylenol, take a Motrin, take an aspirin, take things for minor pain relief, those kind of things. But that won't really change the course of the disease at all. Motion, activities, freedom of motion, getting the body moving. Things like Pilates, yoga, stretching, swimming, jogging, mini trampolining, things like that. Get the body moving can do much more of things. Even passive exercise like Tai Chi. Much better avenues of approach to get the body moving. Remember, the word motion means alive. Motion. If something is moving, it's breathing, it's living, it's growing. If it stops moving, it's dying, it's stiffening up. So getting the body moving. But doctor, it hurts when I move. Yeah, it hurts when you move, but if it's ankylosing spondylitis, if you don't move, you're going to hurt a lot faster. It's going to get stuck a lot quicker. It can progressively go from the sacroiliac joints, which is the most common, up to the spine, up to the back, up. Eventually, if you let it go long enough, it can go to the rib cage. It can actually impede your breathing, impede your motion, and make you look like somebody who's way beyond your years, leaning over, walking over, all hunched over, very rapidly. And now in my field, in chiropractic, a lot of people say, well, you need to get adjusted. Well, adjustments don't cure ankylosing spondylitis, but adjustments help to keep the motion back in the spine, keeping it freedom of movement, those type of things, along with things like physical therapy, massage therapy, yoga, Pilates, those things we've already mentioned. Ankylosing spondylitis can be dealt with really rapidly. Something that most people miss is the food. Now, I use a lot of people talk to me about food. They go, what's efficient, what's not efficient, what's efficient and what's not efficient. My definition of a food allergy is any food that you eat that requires more energy to digest the food than you get energy from the food in the first place. Because when you use a guideline like that, let's say for example you're blood type O, which is the most common in America. Blood type O people are really good at digesting red meat. They're really good at digesting a lot of non-starchy vegetables. But their terrible efficiency factor runs into wheat, dairy, and white potatoes. Wheat, dairy, white potatoes, well, that's America's food, isn't it? My goodness, you mean they're going to take away my french fries? Take away my cheeseburger with the cheese and the wheat? That's exactly correct. The blood type O people, when you eat too much wheat, too much dairy, too much white potatoes, it starts to slow down your efficiency factor and make your body stiff on the inside. If it's stiff on the inside, the colon goes into swelling, which is the body's first response to trauma. Remember that? The body's first response to trauma is inflammation. So if you traumatize your colon, as a blood type O person, for example, and put the foods in that are very inefficient, it will cause the colon to swell up. The swelling on the colon will take up space inside your gut body cavity. That's called intrathecal pressure. The intrathecal pressure puts pressure on your spine on the inside. There's not a lot of extra room in here in the gut. This little body cavity right here, right? That's why it all bulges out to the front when your gut's in trouble. Puts pressure against here. If you blow a balloon up inside here and make it bigger, it starts pushing against the spine. All of a sudden, you have symptoms of disc problems, backaches, pinched nerves, all this stuff like that, being caused by intrathecal pressure, being caused by eating the foods that cause inflammation in your colon. That's probably why so many people with colitis or so many people with Crohn's disease have symptoms of ankylosing spondylitis early on, because there's so much swelling in their gut. Did I say you had to eat no fun foods at all? No, I just said things in moderation. If you are a blood type O person, you should make better choices. It doesn't mean you can never have ice cream. It doesn't mean you can never have cheese. It doesn't mean you can never have wheat. It just means you need to make better choices most of the time. It's an 80-20 rule. If you eat spelt bread, spelt noodles instead of wheat noodles, you won't get the bloating effect. If you take away the cheese and use mozzarella, farmer, or feta cheese, and don't use the hard, thick cheeses, you'll get less bloating in your back. The Friday night pizza, if you say, I want mozzarella cheese instead of cheddar cheese, you'll get less bloating in your back. If you make it out of spelt pasta or spelt bread instead of wheat bread, you get less bloating in your back. And every blood type is a little different, and you can get those off my website as well. The lists are already there for you. All you need to do is know your blood type, and you'll be amazed at the changes you have in there. There's no reason for somebody with a diagnosis of ankylosing spondylitis to suffer needlessly when you can do things to keep motion back in your body. You can check with your doctor. Or if you want to just take symptom relief, take your aspirin and Tylenol every day, knowing that that'll destroy things eventually, but it'll make you feel better. Homeopathically wise, I like to use some products like Lyso Life Forte, made by NutriWest. It actually is an anti-inflammatory without aspirin and things like that. It takes away the swelling. Once again, you can take these pills, you can take these supplements all day long, but if you change your food, most of the time you change the motility in your colon, which is exactly 33 1/3% of your symptoms in the first place. I can't change your genetics, but I can help you change your food, I can help you change your attitude, and most of all, you can enjoy better health every day. I'm Dr. David Lee for the Old Fashioned Health Network, Medical Director, saying hello and have a great day.